Hi everyone and welcome to 16 Figure Focus, and you're very welcome to episode number 4 of The Hope Show, a live stream dedicated to all things 1/6 scale collecting and quarter scales collecting, pop culture, film, movie, TV, all that kind of jazz. So we've got a really good show planned for you today. At least I think it's a new show. You're going to be the judge of that. Before we do anything of that, we're going to address the chat. That did not mean to rhyme, but I'm glad it did. All right, so who do we got? We got shout out to all channel members. We got the 12-inch Moose Dream. Hello, community collectors, and to 16 Figure Focus Militia of the Mind. I love it. We got Mike in the building. We got William Owens, channel member. We got Tragedy Tales. We've got Raise Your Shields. I like that username. Ian got an old burn earlier on today. I apologize. Ian's well able to put him away. How are you, Ian? All jokes aside, great to have you here, buddy. We've got Phil, Empire Strikes Back here, just waiting for the ice cream van. I love it. The ice cream van may as well, very well, may turn up. Shout out to channel member Phil. Another channel member, Ryan Smith. Great to have you here. We've got H and Silver Fox Ian checking in again. Mike with the exclamation marks. Hello everyone. Some random chick got released today. I'm not sure if it's newsworthy, lol. Obviously talking about Wanda. They found her. I put out a release reaction video earlier on. If you want to check this after that, by all means do so. Boba Fettuccine, amazing username. We got Brandon Salad, the first man to ever drop a super chat in this channel. $20 August 1st. Never forget. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it. We have got Blue Tattoo. Josh is in the building. Great that you're here. We have got Raise Your Shield saying hi. Hello. Where is the best place to get hot toys? You ask a different collector that, you'll get different answers. If you're in the States, a lot of people swear by Sideshow. If you're in Ireland or the UK and you're subjected to customs tax, it's not worth your while going from Sideshow. You need to get maybe a reputable Hong Kong based reseller. I personally use Lion Rock Toys a lot. I've had positive experiences with them. I've also used Toys Buying Agent as well with great success. Another good company. 16 Kit are very reputable. I've never used them, but I've heard really good things. But in my own opinion, I collect Lion Rock. I use Lion Rock toys a lot because I've had positive experiences and customer services with them. But disclaimer, I do actually review for them, so they give me better prices. So yeah, putting that out there anyway. But if you're living in Ireland and you're trying to avoid custom tax, maybe they are the ones for you. Shout out to Keith, the 6-scale Padawan from Ireland, who got his R2-D2 from Attack of the Clones in today. Yeah, so basically do your own research and make up your own mind, but it is a good question worth asking. The Collectalorian. Ladies and gents, how are you? Been waiting for Wanda for almost 2 years. Cannot wait. You don't need to wait anymore. Well, unless you order from Sideshow, they'll probably get them in 2-3 months. We've got... who else do we have? Obviously, William Owens, channel member. 12-inch Moose Dream channel member. Andre, channel member. How are you doing? Who else we got? So Connor is saying Lion Rock, Toys Buying Agent, KG Hobby 16 Kit. I can't argue with any of them. I've used Lion Rock. Heard good things about Toys Buying Agent. Great things about 16 Kit. And I've heard good things about KG Hobby. But I've never used KG Hobby myself. But I think they're KG Hobby and Lion Rock are like linked, but I have never bought directly from KG Hobby by Lion Rock. Who else do we got? They're flying in. Lion Rock are great. Was very impressed with the service got from Snowspeeder Luke and Chrome Mando. Great to hear that. Should be getting here in a week from Toys Buying Agent. Connor, you're not Hot Toys Hotline Connor, I presume, or are you Hot Toys Hotline Connor? Sometimes I see Hot Toys Hotline actually coming in the chat, I think, before. So I presume different people. Don and Carbonate. Hey, man. How are you doing? Hope you figured out StreamYard. I think we're up to date here with the chat. All right. So I want to make sure I've got everything correctly ordered here. We do. All right. So what's coming up on the channel? What are we going to do? So I got to... Usually I share the screen at this stage, but I'm going to do things slightly differently here. because what I wanted to do was the file was a bit too large. So I've got to do a few different things. I'm going to show you what's coming up so you can abandon ship if it doesn't seem interesting. Where are we going? Okay. All right, so you should be able to see that now. So share infinity screen. The best I can do at the moment. Okay, so we got to shout out to new members. All right, so shout out to new members. So, well, this is just the members actually. There's channel memberships now available. $2.99 for the Trooper tier, and then it is. Let me get this right. It's $5.99 then for the Commander tier. So these are the channel members. We got Troopers, Payton 23, Mugwump, Andre, Chuli, Bendu Windu, Collector Joey, Ryan Smith. And at the Commander level, we got Keith. Oh no, sorry, this is Alan. Sorry, new member Alan, the 6 scale Gallery. We've got X-Man Supreme, 12-inch Moose Stream, Philip the Fool, Keith the 6 scale Padawan, Mark Mitchell, William Owens, Brandon Salad, Phil Empire Strikes Again, Collecting Weekly, and Boba Fettuccini. New videos up in the channel. This is my review on a custom saber I got from Art15 Collector and Custom. I absolutely love this. But yeah, check it out if you're interested. New videos. These are all either pre-order previews or release reactions to the various different figures. We got the Enforcer, the Iron Man Stealth Armor, War Machine, Star-Lord. This is a pre-order preview for Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. There's Wanda. So release reaction up there live on YouTube channel. And of course, we're going to touch on this anyway, in art Harry Potter. Now, new streams on the channel. We've got basically when I went and got that Art15 custom saber, I was very concerned with how I'd make it work. I wanted it to look clean. I didn't want wires all over the place. I wanted to hide the wires as much as I could, but I also wanted it to, I could walk into my room, click one button on my phone, and turn on not only my Luke lights for my details, but also this brand new CCFL saber with one click, and it all worked out. And this is just kind of how I did it and stuff like that. So I'm very, very happy with this one. So that live stream actually does photos and everything explaining how I did that. Episode 1 of The Hope Show is obviously online. We did that a few weeks ago. So is episode 2. So is episode 3. And you're currently watching episode number 4. And it's all about nostalgia today. It's all about the backstories from some of the figures in my collection. Upcoming live streams, we've got Lancelot from Lancelot's Nerd Corner on an episode of Visions this Saturday, the 27th of May. It's at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which would be 11 a.m. Eastern Time, which would be, I think, 8 a.m. West Coast. And then a massive one, Wednesday week. That's Wednesday, the 31st of May, the last day of May. We've got episode number 40 of Visions. We've got a pretty bloody big one as well. Really looking forward to talking to this guy and picking his brain about Batman, The Dark Knight, modding figures, how to basically get the ultimate Batman Begins Batman, and Peaky Blinders figures. So this is Dean Knight 333. This is for episode number 40 of Visions. That's next Wednesday, the 31st. It is scheduled. It'll be at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. That's 3 p.m. East Coast, or midday on Wednesday 31st of West Coast. Right, so we got to talk about news first of all, very quickly. We're in a second now. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. This is what we're doing today. Briefly going to touch on the news. Now, I'm not going to talk about the War Machine or the Stealth Iron Man or the Star-Lord, because I just have so much news this week. I'm going to condense it into news today. We're going to quickly take a look at Wanda. We're going to quickly take a look at Harry Potter, and then we're going to get stuck into the rest of this, which is passing comments, a new segment that I have on this show, I'm just going to pull out a few comments from my videos over the last week that I've noticed, some positive, some salty, and some just funny. And we're going to have a look at them. I haven't taken any of the names of the people off because, well, if these people want to comment on the videos as public, why should I? Also, Commander collection once a week. I'm trying to get into the habit of showcasing some of the channel members' collections. So the commanders have an option if they want to email me some photos from their collection. Maybe once a week I'll just do a little Commander collection nod to some of the collections of the commanders in the channel membership of, One Six Figure Focus. And finally, the main thing we're going to be talking about today, the main focus, pun very much intended, backstories. I've got a few photos of my figures that I've taken myself, and I've had not all the figures, but I've basically kind of pinpointed a few stories based on figures that I've had in my collection that you'll see. Basically, why they're in my collection or things that they remind me of. It should be fun. Hopefully you will enjoy it. All right, so I want to address the chat really quick. We've gone into the infinity screen here, but I'm going to take this away because I'm going to very quickly switch this on to... I'm going to take a quick look at Harry Potter first. I think that would probably be the best thing to do. All right, so addressing this chat, I'm kind of falling behind here. Neither, I'm from Derry up north. Gotcha. Thalia Meyer, hello again, everyone. I'm an admiral with T-dubs. They will get my business from here on. You gotta love the old workshop, eh? We've got Alan here is the newest commander. Shout out to Alan. 31 people in the chat. If you're enjoying the content, you haven't yet subscribed, consider clicking that subscribe button. And if you're liking this content, click the like button. If you don't like it, click it twice. Hey Shane, looking forward to hearing some backstories. I hope you enjoy them actually. I got a mix of them. Because like, we all know that we collect these things because they're 1/6 scale versions, very, very highly realistic, high quality, movie accurate pieces from the characters and the movies or TV shows that we love. I get that. They look cool. A lot of them look cool. But if we collected every single thing that looked cool, we'd have no money. We'd have no space. So I picked out some of my favorites, and I also then backtracked things they remind me of. And I was just thinking today, going, I wonder would people actually like to hear that, and I think it'd be quite funny. So, or quite interesting. Hopefully. So, Payton23 channel member, how are you doing? Phil, your streams are interesting. Shame about. I really do appreciate that, Phil. Look, I love collecting. I love taking photos of my collection. I love making and editing videos and the live stream. But like, it is time consuming, and those little positive feedbacks, they definitely keep you going and making the next video and stuff like that. It definitely beats salty comments, Phil. So Empire Strikes, yeah, of course that's Phil. We got Michael as well. We got Payton23, Mark Mitchell. I thought I saw a comment there. Brian Fontaine. Now look at this. If ever there's a humbling time, this is when TC or Chris or Brian, the godfathers of the 1/6. I'm getting all nervous now, Jesus. Of the 1/6 collecting YouTube landscape or podcast, whichever one I call it. I do remember I told this to Chris and I told it to Brian, and I must try to get TC on an episode of Vision sometimes if he's up for it. But during COVID, when I think we all, if we were collectors, we leaned a bit more into collecting because it was something we could do from home. I mean, I was a collector before COVID. And I know that a lot of collectors were born after COVID or born through COVID, but I definitely leaned a bit more into collecting because I could do it from home. Because I couldn't go to the cinema, I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't go mountain biking. We did like a 5-kilometer radius in Ireland where we couldn't go outside. So, and because people couldn't come over as well, you missed the conversations, And then when I stumbled upon 6-scale scavengers, I was like, okay, here are a group of people who are into the same thing as me. It just so happens that I'm leaning heavier into this hobby that I love, that I have loved for a while, and now I feel like there's a conversation going on that I'm part of in my living room, and that definitely got me. It kept my sanity through COVID a bit. I definitely leaned on those podcasts, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So shout out to you, Brian Fontaine. Thanks very much for doing what you do and for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Lewis is given a direct order there. Hulk smash the like button. Okay, I'm trying to flick. I'm thinking of buying a figure. Any good recommendations? I'm completely biased. I buy from Lion Rock Toys. I work with them. They source figures for me. They give me discounts. I still pay for them myself. I don't collect figures just to review them. I don't do that. I'll never do that. I haven't got time for that. I appreciate the patience and time and effort that people do and go through doing that. I mean, it's just the thought of having to review everything, and like, take Justin for example. The thought of having to review every single thing that comes out, that like, I can't do that. I would not be able. I wouldn't be able to afford it. I don't think I'd have the patience and the organization required to do that. So that I really do admire Justin's work ethic, but I wouldn't be able to do it. So I buy figures that I'm going to love. The disadvantage is that is when I'm reviewing them, I'm probably a bit more positive bias towards it because, you know, I only buy stuff I like. So Lion Rock toys, I'm going to recommend to you. I've had really good, really good experiences with them, but I've also had really good experiences with the likes of Toys Buying H, and I don't think either of them will steer you wrong. Collector Joey is here. If you haven't done so already, actually, congratulations, Collector Joey, 1,000 subs. We got to get you in an episode of Visions. We've been talking about it for a while. I've got 2 weeks left of school, and then I got the summer off, and then my schedule is your schedule. I can work around your schedule. I love if Hot Toys became more transparent with us. For example, why are we waiting 2 years for Wanda? Who knows, man? Who knows? All right, I need to get tucked in to take a look at this guy. Okay, full disclosure, I'm not a Harry Potter fan. Okay, that was a bit of an exaggeration, or that was a bit harsh. I've seen all 8 movies multiple times. Girlfriend loves them. My sister loves them. Girlfriend's little sister loves them. They're good films. They're good films. And if you didn't notice, just in case you're foreign, as in when I say foreign, I mean anyone outside of Ireland, that's how you correctly pronounce film. Film, 2 syllables. Forget this 1 syllable crap. It's film, okay? People always give me shit for that. So, the Harry Potter films are good, well-made films. And when I watch them, they remind me of Christmas and they give me that warm, fuzzy feeling. They're real family films. And I am becoming more conscious of that as time goes by. So I have watched them. I do enjoy them, but they're a bit after my time. I was a bit too old when they came out, or a bit, maybe not too old, but they came a bit after my time. They're not, like when I was, like when kids were watching these, I suppose, these films, when they came out, like I suppose, and they caught that target audience of maybe from anyone from 8 years of age up or something like that. I presume that was the target audience. You'll see later on in my stream, some of the figures are from movies that I shouldn't have been watching when I was that. I was watching like the likes of RoboCop and Terminator, these 18s R-rated movies. So my childhood was brilliant, but I definitely shouldn't have been watching those movies looking back at them. But I have watched these movies. They're well put together. The soundtrack, the costumes, the cast, the stories and everything. Very well done films. I've actually read the first 3.5 books. I should probably go back and read the rest of them just to have it done. But yeah, let's just take a look at these, because I'm not something I'm going to pick up, but look at that photo. That is super. That is super. Now I know that there's 2 different versions, or SKUs. SKUs is like a popular word, popular term in the 1/6 scale land. But there's 2 different versions. There's the one with the sculpted plastic hair, and it doesn't come with the fancy diorama. And then there's the one with the rooted hair, which does come with the diorama. And the diorama is pretty cool because it seems to be like there's 2 sides to it. It's like a wall of Hogwarts, and the outside is like a window. You can put him outside in his broom. But then the inside is like, it looks like the bedroom or something like that. It looks really, really cool and very, very clever. So we've seen before what they can do with a diorama. Their Joker diorama, I have it here. It is amazing. And I know like there's a lot of this, like, you know, in art you're either for them or you're against them. Like, I don't really buy into that. The only figure that I have is the only one that they've released. It's the Rooted in Art 2-pack. I absolutely love that piece. I love the movies it comes from. I love the source material. I loved Heath Ledger's performance, but I also love the paint applications, the rooted hair, the cut and sew, the tailoring, the attention to detail, the die-cast bench, the die-cast bars, the real wooden floor that comes from the jail cell diorama, the purple coat and the way it sits, the die-cast weaponry, the magnets, I love it all. Brilliant. Did I have a little bit of an issue with screwing the heads on? Yeah, a bit of patience required, but got there in the end, totally worth it. Was my delivery perfect? Absolutely not. The 2 head sculpts had popped out of the little cylinder tubes. One of them had a little nick on its nose, and I was so preoccupied by that when I recorded my review, I kind of went back and it was pointed out, I was like, I think these are the same. And the comments started coming in going, they're the same. So I got 2 neutral sculpts. One's supposed to be neutral, one's supposed to be a smirk. Despite all that, I still love this figure, and I do think it's worth the money. Just to follow up on that, Lion Rock actually were in contact with InArt, and Lion Rock asked me to send them a video showing the two, comparing the two sculpts, just to show that they're the same, and InArt have confirmed they are going to replace. So again, like it wasn't Lion Rock's fault. They don't pack the shipments. You know, that's InArt's fault, you know. But InArt are taking ownership for it, and when they ship out their next batch to Lion Rock, they're going to include a smirking sculpt that will be sent to me. I just have to send the videos in, but I'll keep you posted on that, because I wouldn't sweep that stuff under the carpet, you know what I mean? Because as much as I absolutely love this figure, and I do think it was worth the money, yeah, they kind of have to deliver on that and give me my smirking sculpt. So this looks super. This photo is the one I keep coming back to. The rooted hair, the scar, the glasses, the shape of his face. Yes, he looks young, and he's kind of like, you know, got the bit of the, what's it, like baby face, but he was no age in the first one. This is the Philosopher's Stone, the Sorcerer's Stone. He looked like this. This is amazing. I absolutely love it, even though I'm not getting it. Now, if you look at this one, this instantly degrades a little bit for me, a little bit. And when you look at it, that's the sculpted hair there. The realism for me in this, with InArt, they do great rooted hair. They do great a lot of things, but the rooted hair is their trump card. Like, this still looks good, but this looks slightly cartoony. That could be the lens they're using. That could be, I don't know, whatever After Effects they're using, or whatever Photoshop they're using, or lighting, or aperture, lens. Could be a load of different things. But I just think that rooted hair just looks so good. Let's flick through a bit more. Wand looks good. It's funny, like this little uniform here, like in Ireland we call the first school you go to in Ireland, you know, you go to a preschool or creche, but then we call primary schools from, like, you start primary school when you're 5 and finish when you're 12, and every single jumper uniform looks like this: a white shirt, some sort of a tie, and then a jumper of some sort of color. So this could be an Irish primary school uniform. So this yeah, obviously this doesn't levitate. That'd be pretty cool if they managed to do that with magnets or something, but no. So this is his broom. You got the robe. And this is the diorama I'm talking about. I'm just going to leave that up there while I quickly address the chat. Collector Joey is, yeah, man, definitely it's going to happen. We'll definitely make that work out. I'll have a bit more time in 2 weeks' time. Andre laughing at my pronunciation of film, no doubt. So is film. I love this. Who's this? Change the name to film. That's funny. That's right. That's my humor right there. I do appreciate the time and effort that went into that. Shrink Ray right there. I think, yeah, Shrink Ray is definitely about that rooted version. I think we should all change our avatars to something related to film. That is good. Toybox says the sculpted should have the swap out. It should. I don't know. Does it? I don't know. It does. I'm guessing there's going to be an update. It'd just be a case of a swap out head sculpt, or they should have had the head sculpt parted. But maybe they put the scar behind the paywall. Assume InArt just teased Voldemort. Sumart just teased Voldemort versus Harry statue. Not sure what that is. Rooted bristles on the broom. It's a pass for me. Or this pass. Yeah, I like that. Rooted bristles, or it's a pass for me. Do I read comics? I do, but I'm not a diehard comic book fan. I'm not like an expert. Typically, like my collecting is rated in my love of cinema, in films, in movies, in TV. And let's say how I do read some graphic novels or some comics. I do have a small collection of graphic novels, which I would like to work on and improve. Typically, I'll see a movie, and if it's maybe science fiction or, you know, comic book or superhero or whatever, and if I really like the movie, I'm talking really like, you know, that kind of like that Dark Knight standard, or, you know, Watchmen or something like that. If the director quotes certain comic books or graphic novels as direct influences, and say like they based their movie from that particular comic book or comic book series, I will go back and watch it. For example, Batman Begins was based on Year One, so obviously I have to go back and watch or read that. Dark Knight, based on The Killing Joke and Arkham Asylum. Watch them. If you look at Batman vs Superman, The Dark Knight Returns. So I'll just actually answer this question here from Raise Your Shields. I would recommend anyone read Watchmen. About 15 years ago, Time Magazine did this. They probably do it regularly. They did this special where they went through the top 100 novels you should read before you die. And there was only one comic book on it, and that was Watchmen. So they have made a movie, but the movie is okay, but it's not as good as the graphic novel. I would read Watchmen. In terms of Marvel, I would go and read the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War series. In terms of Batman, Long Halloween, Hush, The Dark Knight Returns, Year One, Killing Joke, Arkham Asylum. So just looking over the collection there. So there are my recommendations there. And lots of Deadpool ones are actually very good as well. I've been thinking about picking up Batman Hush. Yeah, that's a good read. From Hell is also Alan Moore. Alan Moore did Watchmen, and was he involved in... Oh, there's something else. It wasn't Walking Dead, was it? Let me know if I'm right about that or I'm wrong about that. Okay, so there, the diorama then. So you obviously get a lantern, you get his cloak, you get his glasses, you get his brush, his broom. Nice touch with the sorting hat. I don't think this is leather. I think this is plastic, but it does look very leathery. It's a sculpted hair. And I think this must be rooted because, well, it looks rooted. That is really good. If it turns out like that, people are going to be very happy. So this is the inside of that. It looks like a carpet on the wall here. This is the inside, the flip side of that diorama, I believe. So I do believe that this is the inside, and that's the outside. So I think this only comes with the rooted hair version. Obviously you get Hedwig as well. So this looks like the outside. I wonder, is there some sort of a thing you can... I wonder does the broom must connect onto that somehow to keep it levitating. I mean, why would they show us that? And if you couldn't actually do that. And then the inside, I do think the flip side looks like this. With a red kind of wall. So you got a simple base here. You got his wand, lantern again. I'm not sure if the lantern actually lights up. That looks so good. And the articulation looks good as well. I know the Joker's articulation was something that people were worried about, but I can confer Joker articulation is very good. Strong ankles, knees. I particularly like it. I love this. This looks like a shrink ray still. It's like the spell book he has or something like that. I can't remember what book this is. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. But everything looks good here. The head sculpt's on point. The glasses. Has the scar as well. You can't see it here. The hair looks phenomenal. The tailoring on the shirt, the tie, the kind of school jumper. Even Hedwig, actually, I presume this is sculpted plastic. It looks like feathers though. Book looks good as well. That's the inside of the diorama. That's a nice touch. I think 350-ish for the sculpted without the diorama, and I think 1/6 kit at approximately 580 for the premium one with the diorama, the dual-sided diorama, and the rooted hair. So yeah, that's that. So let's take a look at Wanda while we're here. Where is Wanda? Well, we know where Wanda is now. Not going to spend too much time Wanda. Anyone here getting Wanda? Anyone here really excited about this? 32 in the chat. Thank you for being here. Who else we got? Adam Moore wrote Killing Joke. I forgot that. I didn't realize that. Need to go back and reread that. It's the Hope Show. It's Costa. Costa, how are you doing, man? Thanks very much for tuning in. Who else we got? Puts Einstein to shame. Absolutely does. Did I hear 580 for Potter? You absolutely did. Need a t-shirt in the same font as the one you're wearing with the Hope Show on it. I definitely need to get some t-shirts sorted. I have an idea, but I need to get sorted over the summer. Wanda is a pass for me. All right, so I'm gonna flick through this. This is Wanda from the WandaVision TV show. If you've been following the channel, you know that I'm picky, and I have yet to buy or pre-order a figure from any Disney Plus, Marvel, MCU show. I have stuff from the movies, but not from the shows. I don't think the shows, for me, have the rewatchability. I watched WandaVision, I watched Loki, I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I watched She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, but I probably won't ever go back and rewatch any of them. I just didn't think they were particularly good shows. All right. Have you read Secret War? I haven't, but I need to get on that because otherwise the movie will be out and I want to kind of read the comic book first. Okay. Right, we'll flick through this. So I think this looks good and I'm glad it turned out good because a lot of people were very excited about this. I see Elizabeth Olsen there. Am I right or wrong? I know it's all subjective, but can you see Elizabeth Olsen there? I definitely see Elizabeth Olsen there. Do I think it's the best head sculpt I've ever seen? No, probably not. The prototype for the Multiverse of Madness one does look stronger and more like, but that makes sense. Because the prototype of this was very good, but the prototype for Multiverse of Madness was that bit better. So I'm wondering, I really hope they don't do a laziness and reuse this head sculpt because that prototype for the Multiverse of Madness definitely looks more like Elizabeth Olsen than this one here. But this one, I do see Elizabeth Olsen in. Got reflective eyes. Comes with those plastic magic effects that I wouldn't use if I was even getting it. It does have a seam on the joints. Like that looks pretty cool. I really like the head sculpt. I think the sculpted hair is good. Bit plasticky looking, but what can you do? I like the colors in the outfit, like the proportions of the outfit. There is a wire in the cape as well, and the eyes have this reflective thing that when the light shines in it, they have this kind of like glows red or orange. Definitely see Elizabeth Olsen there. I think they did a great job with the outfit. There you go, there's a reflective. I'm not sure if this is Photoshop to show you what it would look like or the actual technique itself. Yeah. Okay, that takes me right out of it. If I was getting this, which I'm not, I wouldn't be taking that cape thing off. I wouldn't want those seams to be visible. They just take me right out of it. Look, I'm not sure. I think people who want this will be happy with it. I don't think it's particularly bad or anything like that. I think keep the things on the shoulders and happy days. Call it a day. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this. But that's that anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna do something a little bit different. All right, so we're going to go passing comments. Little new section I'm going to do. I'm going to pick a few comments once a week and just address them. There could be funny comments, there could be salty comments, there could be nice comments, whatever. So this is the first one that I got. I got this 6 days ago and it's like, thank you so much. I kind of needed it. So Duck Savage 17, what an amazing username. Shane, always love your content. And you're a true gentleman and valued, respected member of the community. Thank you, sir. I thought it was sarcasm first, but then I was like, just read it and I was like, all right, thanks very much. Irish people are notoriously bad at taking compliments. So that's one. Good comment. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. This one is funny. You remind me of Jason Newsted. This is funny because I I can see where he's going with that. If you don't know who Jason Newsted is, he was one of the bass players. I don't think he's the current bass player. I think he's the last bass player for Metallica. I know that they had a bass player years ago, Cliff Burton, rest in peace, died in a tragic bus accident. And I'm not sure if it was, I think Jason Newsted replaced Cliff. I believe Metallica gave Jason Newsted a really, really hard time. They made him like, the initiations and used to like, give him shit and stuff like that, just to kind of, he had to earn his way. But Jason Newsted, I've got that once or twice before. So he was one of the bass players from Metallica. I don't think he plays it to anymore. They've got a new guy, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. And this one here, this was just funny. So obviously, I don't think the Yelena's head sculpt is good. But this Marty McD just pops in. Figure looks fine, nerds. It's like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I just thought that was quite funny. Okay, the next thing, little section we're going to do is Commander Collection. So I'm going to try and get into a rhythm of this maybe once a week or once every few weeks, just to focus on, going to get one of the commanders in the channel memberships to just email me if they're comfortable with it, a few photos of their collection. I'm just going to showcase this. So this is actually Dave Ohms, or X-Man Supremes collection. So he sent me on a few photos of his detail here. He's got the Luke lights there, which obviously very, very clean look. You can't see any of the wires there. He's done a great job of hiding them. That's the first thing I noticed. The top shelf, then he's got, I think that's the Sideshow Wolverine. Looks like the Cajun Card Dealer and Deadpool. I'm not sure if it's a Deadpool 1 or 2. I think that's Deadpool 2. Hard to tell from here. I really like what he's done in the second from the top detail. You've got the Stan Lee, is that Guardians of the Galaxy version? I think that is. And you've got who else you've got there? You got Vision, and you've got the integrated Spider-Man suit. I really like the photo. He's got the phone up as if he's taking a selfie, and he's even kind of like got him winking as well. He's got two Ahsokas down there. I'm jealous because I haven't got my Ahsoka, and he's got Grogu on a tree, which is quite funny. Yeah, I think that's the Sideshow Wolverine classic look. That's funny. Yeah, I want that Ahsoka. Mine's on order and I'm waiting for it. I love the way Grogu's up the tree. That's quite funny. So different versions of Harley Quinn and the Chrome. Is it not Chrome? Arena Fett. That Arena Fett looks pretty cool. Thanks very much to Dave Ohms, channel member commander. Really appreciate that. Right, so now, just before you go into this, we're gonna go into the main topic of. I don't want to keep the channel going. I don't want to keep not the channel. I do want to keep the channel going. I don't want to keep the the live stream going too long. So we're going to go into the main topic now, which is all about nostalgia and backstory. So I picked out some of the key figures in my collection. Nothing on pre-order. I've said no. I might do another one in the future about like pre-order figures, why I ordered them, and the funny stories behind them and connections and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to address the comments before I go into this. We got the Hope Show is every Monday 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Thanks for being here. The glowing hands look dope. So that's Alan chiming in on the Wanda. Jason was their second base player. Yeah, Cliff was their first, wasn't he? And then he died tragically. Rest in peace. Yeah, and they did torture him. I heard they tortured they really gave him shit, like just to made him earn his keep, his rite of passage. All right, so let's get started. So okay, surprise. I've taken, unless I say otherwise, I took all of these photos. So this is how I've got my Mark 6 and my Mark 1 War Machine, both from Iron Man 2 / Avengers. Well, at least Mark 6 from Avengers. This is how I have it displayed in my detail. I've got in the middle detail, second from the top, prime real estate, and I've ordered 2 fusion kits, one for each of these. So the plan is to wire them up and hide the wires, hopefully as cleanly as I did with the CCFL. And I want to be able to turn it on with one touch of the smartphone. So I love the Mark 6. It is my favorite armor. And this actually, I took the light box out about 2 weeks ago, and I was taking photos of various figures, and I just literally took them out of detail, put them in the light box, didn't spend any time adjusting them. They're already in the pose, just literally took them, bang. First photo I took, and I was like, yeah, that's it. Just got lucky. So I really, really like how this particular image turned out. So the Mark 6. The Mark 6 is an important one for me because it was my first Iron Man figure, my first die-cast figure. It wasn't my first Hot Toys. However, I got my first Hot Toys back in like 2010. I got the MMS 67 and 68. That was the it was branded, or both branded Dark Knight. It was one of the first Jokers. I think it was the first Heath Ledger Joker they did. And the Batman Begins suit from the Dark Knight. So it was the Batman Begins suit, but it was the it was branded Dark Knight because obviously he wears it at the start of the Dark Knight. Now I've got rid of those figures since because the Joker was looking very dated, and obviously I've got the in-art one, so there was no competition. And yeah, the Batman Begins they haven't got right. They really have not got right. I'm interested in talking to Dean Knight Wednesday week about how he customizes his, which looks pretty damn good. But this is an important figure because when I had those, I kept them. And I remember I got them like in college or something like that. And he was like, I think I ordered them maybe towards the end of my college journey. And then when you start teaching in Ireland, it takes a while to get like a permanent job or a permanent contract. You have to teach in a few different places before you actually, get what's called like a contract of indefinite duration or permanent contract or whatever. And I remember thinking at the time when I was kind of engaging in that, my first, you're never going to walk straight into a job, like, really. And I was thinking, I want to collect more of these, but now is not the right time because I don't have the money and I didn't have the space because, you could be living in one place 1 year, another place another year, and you really need to be somewhere permanent or at least long term to actually go and, commit to these, I think. You know what I mean? I think you need to kind of have, me personally anyway, I wanted behind me. I wanted an actual room or part of a room at the very least, or part of a wall where I can go, right, this is my display. I wanted the figures posed up correctly. I wanted them in a display section of their own. I didn't want stuff lying around the place. So I took a big hiatus there, but I remember going, you got to go back and collect more of them. So this was I was living in Abu Dhabi at the time, and around that time, I as a movie fan, obviously I'd seen the big movies. I'd seen the likes of the first Avengers, and I'd seen the Iron Man movies. But I think there was definitely gaps in my MCU viewership, and I was gonna go see Infinity War, and I was like, wait, I haven't seen Winter Soldier. I've missed that one, or I haven't seen one of the Thor films or something like that, the second one. No loss. So I re-engaged watching them, and I was like, now's the time. Okay, you've a bit more money, you've a bit more disposable income. Now's the time to re-engage and get the Iron Man you want. And I always loved the triangle shape of the Mark 6. I love the Mark 3 too, but the Mark 6 was the one I was looking for. I went on, that's how I found Sideshow. I was back in 2017, and I pulled the trigger on him, and of course it was a pre-order, but I didn't mind waiting. Now at the time, here's something interesting, right? At the time, if you've been following the channel, you know that I don't order from Sideshow because when I do that, not only have to pay about $50 for your standard shipping from a standard 6 scale figure, but once I order anything outside the European Union that's worth more than €100 or more, I get taxed 30%. So let's just say $350 for an Iron Man, $50 for shipping to Ireland, that's $400, 30% of that is $120. That will cost me $520. That's a lot of money. Now, because I was on good money at the time, I was like, grand, order it, ship it home, and then when you go home for the summer, you'll be able to inspect it and take a look at it and stuff like that. Now, what I didn't know, and what I didn't realize, and what I should have, is, wait a second, you're in a country that's tax-free. Why don't you should have just ordered it directly to yourself, then you wouldn't have to pay customs. So, obviously, then once I did this once and got stung for customs, the next few that I ordered directly to UAE because I didn't have to pay customs. So this is my kind of re-engagement, I suppose, into the Hot Toys. This is where I start going, right, I'm going to take this a bit more seriously. So I had two, they were at home, but they were undisplayed. And I was like, right, bit of money here, tax-free, skip the customs, you can use Sideshow, and I started building up the collection. So the Mark 6, absolutely beautiful. I don't think I'm going to get that new one. I really don't. I may change my mind. But one thing, this is not leaving my collection. I'm after investing in a fusion reactor for both of these so I can hook them up. Love the look of this. The die cast, the traditional red and gold, the little splash of silver on the knees and the bicep area. I love battle damage, so I really appreciate the swap out parts on both of these. A load of swap out parts, actually. Battle damage parts come with that Mark 1. Actually, the Gatling gun, you can get a kind of a chopped off version. I have that there, but I haven't swapped it in. They just look super together. And like the Mark 4 War Machine, I prefer the Mark 4 War Machine, believe it or not, with the camo, the digital camo. But this, they just look super together because I suppose it's canon or whatever, you know. So even the head sculpt there, I know it's only a partial sculpt, but that's screen accurate. I still think this is a pretty damn good sculpt. And I took all these photos myself, just threw them in the Lightbox. And even the back of the figure looks pretty good. Real jacked shoulders, kind of this, it's a kind of a leaner. It's got the bulk of the Mark III, but it's a bit more chiseled, I think. It's a bit more, it's like a bit more toned version of the Mark VI, that makes sense. I love the look of the side and the back of the helmet, even the back of the neck, the shoulders, the shoulder pads as well. Really, really like this. So that's the first story. So the Mark VI, not only my favorite Iron Man, it's not only my favorite suit, but it was the one that re-engaged me into, after a massive hiatus, after getting the MMS 67 and 68 when they came out in probably like, I think it was 2010. And then kind of going, right, I need to put a pin on them because I'm not earning enough money and I don't be living in place to place. I won't be able to display them. And I didn't want to just collect a bunch of stuff and keep them in the box. So I was like, right, just put a pin in that. And then when I re-engaged in 2017, this is the first one I went for. But I should have ordered this directly to the UAE at the time because I would have skipped out on maybe $120 of worth of what am I saying, the customs, you know. All right, so the next one, I'm never going to make a list without the DX19 on it. I know we've got the new one coming out that has the special gloves that tuck under the gauntlets, and I understand that's more screen accurate, and I get all that, and I still may pick that up. But one thing is I'm not going to do is look at the DX19 in my shelf and now go, oh no, this is crap now because there's a new one. Forget that. If you have that attitude, you're not going to win. Like, you cannot future-proof yourself. There's always going to be 2.0s and 3.0s and reissues and blah, 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 blah. Be happy what you have. The DX19, great piece. Now, the thing is, I took both of these photos, but they're months apart. On the left, it's the Jackson Zhu cape that Alan, the 6-scale gallery, gifted me because he had a Jackson Zhu, and he had another famous, Tony May, I think it was, but he kept the Tony May, and he sent me this one on the left because he wasn't using it, and he knew that I loved the DX19, and I reposed it in this kind of fight pose with this mouth plate that I don't normally use, and I gotta say, it's a bloody cool cape. Now on the right, the stock cape is still pretty good. If you notice the difference, I know the angles here are different, but you really need to futz the stock cape to get it to sit on the shoulders just right, and it can be done. It's a pretty good cape, because they're not good at capes. They really aren't good at capes. Like this cape on the right, this stock cape for the DX19 is so much better than the DX02 cape and the DX12 cape. But this Jackson Zhu custom, beautiful, beautiful stuff. What can I say about this? I mean, the backstory to this one is I always wanted this is my favorite Batman suit. I mean, think of all the famous Batman suits. There's been so many. You got the 66, you got the animated version, you got the multiple different versions from comics and graphic novels, you got the 1989 and 92 Keaton, you have got the Pattinson now, you've got the Batman Begins, the Dark Knight, you've got the comic book version that's armored, you've got the Batman versus Superman version, you've got all the Batfleck versions, and there's loads of different versions. You got the Arkham series. Out of them all, this is my favorite one, and the reason it's my favorite one is because as much as I love the 89 and 92, like I wouldn't be collecting if it wasn't for Batman 89. I probably wouldn't be as big as a movie fan if it wasn't for Batman 89. This here, I always wanted to see, as much as I love the Burton Gothic, approach to filmmaking, I always wanted to see how could Batman actually work in real life. And that's one of the things I love about the Nolan trilogy. He's got this kind of like rule. If he can shoot something with practical, real effects, they do that and avoid using CGI. He only uses CGI when absolutely necessary. So like they flipped the truck in Chicago for The Dark Knight. They actually flipped the truck. That's pretty damn cool. So he kind of made Batman. They made the trilogy in the Bat movies that I wanted to see. And this here is a very practical suit. Okay, besides the cape, let's face it, the cape is not practical at all for fighting, but like the kind of, it looked like it's just a Kevlar kind of lean down look. It's not as bulky as the other suits, but I get other people like that, and that's cool. And I appreciate that too. Like I love the heaving Batman from, say, the animated series where it's exaggerated shoulders and jawline, and then kind of like it's like a triangle. And then you know, I love the 89, 92, and I can appreciate all of them. Like, so just because I love this one, this is my favorite, doesn't mean like the other ones are, I'm not saying the other ones are bad or not. I like them all. Even Pattinson's suit has grown on me, but this is, I wanted this for a long time. So the story behind this is that when I re-engaged in collecting, I was like, I need this version of the suit. And my options were like the DX12, the DX02. And I went for the DX02, which is probably a bad call in hindsight because the DX12 is a superior figure. But I really liked the Hong Kong heist scene and the sticky bomb gun, the sonar eyes, and the backpack. And the backpack, I don't think comes with the DX12. So I went for the DX02. It was the only time I unboxed the figure, and I was underwhelmed and disappointed by. I realized very quickly that the ankles were terrible. Turns out, like, I think one of them had broken inside in the boot. That the suit was very, very rubbery and impossible to pose. Like this one here, this is like a neoprene undersuit, and they've almost printed the panels on the top, so the articulation might not be it's not the most articulated figure in the world, but it's a lot better than that DX02. They're night and day. Whereas the DX2, it's full rubber. You pose his hand up like this, it flops back down. So the articulation was bad. I thought the proportions weren't great as well. Some of the mouth plates just look plain goofy. And like, no disrespect to anyone who has a DX2, but for me, I was so disappointed by it, and it bothered me. And I overpaid for it. I worked backwards on it. And usually, I've had some pretty good experiences working background. I've got some pretty, really good deals, which I will touch on later on the stream. But this was, no, I overpaid for this. And eventually, when the DX19, when this was announced, I was delighted. And thankfully, it turned out really, really good. And you know, as soon as I locked in the pre-order, I offloaded the DX02. I took a loss, and I'm comfortable with that. It happens. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Right, so I'm going to take a brief. So that was the story with the DX02. I need to catch up on some of these. 42 people in the chat. We're now in like this Infinity War screen here. Infinity screen. All right, so I just want to see if there's any questions here, anything. Ryan Smith with some dangerous talk. I just realized yesterday the new Mark 6 with gantry will fit in my Billy cabinet. That's a done deal. Do it. Do it. Who do we have? Yeah, with Jason, it was like an initiation taken a bit too far. I don't know any of the specific stories, but I know that they definitely give him a lot of shit. Dope picture of War Machine and Iron Man. Appreciate that. Mark 42 is the best suit. You're entitled to your opinion, my man. I'm a Mark 6 man myself. I thought we had it bad with the 20% import. Yeah, it's not great, eh? 520. Yeah, you heard it here, folks. Do the reactors power all of the Iron Man lights? From my understanding is, like I got it off Fusion Reactors on Instagram, and he has kits. He's got like a dummy battery, and I believe, say for the Iron Man Mark 6, I think there's 4 dummy batteries. One for the head, little wire comes out. One for the chest, little wire comes out. And one each for 2 of the arms. So it would light up the 2 eyes, the chest, and the repulsors, I do believe. And then I think they thread into 1 wire, and you have to hide the wire. I presume like just tape it to the back of his leg or something like that and put it out the back. Kind of similar to the way I did the CCFL. So I don't know for sure yet because I haven't got it. And I believe you turn it on and off with an app. So there, it's en route from Australia. It's like the last tracking was, it was on a plane somewhere, and that was a few days ago. So hopefully it arrives. And I'm looking forward to that. 46 people in the chat. I really do appreciate you being here. If you're liking the content, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. If you like the content, click the like. If you don't like it, click it twice. So I will keep you up to date with that, Phil. I will be doing a video on about this. This is a trial. I trial the CCFLs. I love it. I'm getting more. I'm trialing those fusions, and if I like it, I'll get more. The older suits look way better than new ones. Same. Guy in a suit, walking tank, love it. I'm waiting for the In Art the Dark Knight. We could be waiting. Me and you could be waiting, Ryan, but I get what you're saying. Literally sat here chopping the straps off my DX19 hands to get it tucked under the gauntlet. Look, I really hope you're joking. So hit that like button. Direct order there from Boba Fettuccine, channel member. Good stuff. All right. Moving on. Okay, so yeah, that was the next story. Okay. This is the, let me get this right, MMS 203 DO5. It's a movie masterpiece series 203. We're going back a bit because we're up around 700 and something now. And DO5 is the 5th diecast. This is the RoboCop from the original 1987 movie. I believe I've got that right, 1987. Shame me if I'm wrong. And it has the mechanical docking station. Also comes out, as you can see, with swap out battle damaged parts. So you can have the clean helmet and chest plate, or the battle damaged helmet and chest plate. This was a figure I worked backwards on. It wasn't cheap, but I didn't break the bank on it either. Sorry, just strange. Thought it was a scratch on my Iron Man. But there wasn't. Yeah, so like this is diecast. This is beautiful. You know, it looks like Peter Weller. It's the proportions are great. A lot of people would say it's one of their best diecast or one of their best figures. It's definitely up there with one of those like DX13 style old figures. Comes with a ton. You got the chair, which is the showstopper. I put it in the chair. I check the backs of the ankle or backs of the knees regularly so that that there's no rubber bursting and stuff like that. And I have a bit of foam in between the backs of the knees and the chair just to stop any scratching. But anyway, the story behind this one, right? There it is on the chair there. I watched this film when I was really, really, really young. I'm talking like really young. I'd say I definitely wasn't even 10 because it came out in 1987. So, and I remember watching it going, this is awesome. Right, just this real good science fiction action film. The music, the look of the cop. But man, there were some scary bits. That scene where Clarence shoots Peter Weller's character and blows off his hand, that was one of the scariest things I'd ever seen in my life to that date. Not scary in the sense that, you know, like I watched Aliens and that scared me. As in, like, you know, it was for a while after that as a kid, because I watched that very young as well. Like going to sleep in the dark, you know, it just creeped me out because I kept having those things because they're terrifying. Like that H.R. Giger xenomorph design is terrifying, and the movie is so well done it just makes you believe that they're real. But this didn't scare me in that sense. This was a more real fear. Because you have this bunch of criminals who corner this guy, they disarm him, he's completely helpless. And they not only like blow his hand off and shoot him up to bits to pulp, but they laugh about it. And I think that's what really, really got me. That's what really, it took me a while to shake that. Because it was an eye-opener. I think maybe I was really naive as a kid. And I was thinking, oh yeah, there's no people in the world like that. And it just, the cogs started turning in my mind as a kid, even going, well, if this director or this movie maker and all these people on the set and these actors made this movie, well, wouldn't they like maybe make it based on something that actually happened in real life? And the reality is, the stuff that maybe criminals and cartels are doing to people is probably actually worse. I'd say there's people who've had worse deaths than in real life than Peter Weller's character, I suppose Peter Weller's character experienced in this movie. But that scared me. Like, again, not in like a monsters, ghost, supernatural, but a real fear. There are some evil people in the world, and that it shook me. Amazing film. I love the first one. I love the second one. The first one though was king for me, but that scene, and he was so good at it. I actually love that actor. He's fantastic. He's great, and he's great in the '70s show as well. But he'll always be Clarence to me. He just gets the lines, you know. It's like, you see, cops don't like me, and I don't like cops. Brilliant, love it. He gets or his other one-liners. Can you fly, Bobby? Bobby did not fly so good. Bobby did not fly so good. But that scene where he just blows off his hand, that just really affected me as a kid. I was too young to be watching that, and it scared me, and it's still, even to the day, I just wince a bit, like. But even the fact Peter Weller's acting is so good there, because the effects, like, you know, some of the effects in RoboCop are sketch, obviously, it's 1987. But his acting when he's holding his hand, he's literally, he could have overacted that. He could have shouted and roared and screamed, but he didn't. The way he held his hand, and he's like, he literally was in so much pain, he couldn't even breathe to scream. And that creeped me out, man. And then they just blew him to shit, like, so, like, that, yeah, that really affected me. I think I want to just tune in the chat here now, because I'm guessing a few people, I'm guessing a few people had that experience watching that as well. So Copper, how are you doing? Alan's not joking about cutting the gauntlets off his figure to make them fit underneath. It's definitely one of my favorite figures. Definitely. I think that, tough question. DX13, possibly. Give the man a hand. You see, cops don't like me. Honestly, I never finished watching RoboCop after that scene where the gang of guys lit him up. Yeah, it is scary. Definitely is scary. We have American Werewolf in London. Scared the shit out of me as a kid. Probably sparked an interest in creatures and horrors. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Does it hurt? Does it hurt? Just, there's something about that when someone's being mean to someone and they're showing no remorse. And yeah, that just, yeah. Beautiful figure, love Robo. I agree in that scene, and yeah, I watched it as a kid as well. It was a messed up scene at the time. Still messed up now, man. The laughing level of glee they had when they shot the crap out of Peter Weller was disturbing. 100% great. Can you fly, Bobby? Bobby does not fly so good. They don't make films like RoboCop, Terminator. 100%. Like, there, you just, like, that's my science fiction there. Just yeah, amazing practical effects. That's why I like Nolan so much as well. He doesn't just, everything isn't just CGI. He can be practical. He does it practical. So that's my story there from RoboCop. But yeah, that figure is going nowhere. It's a lifer. Like, you know, if I had to sell a bunch of figures for whatever reason, like, and I don't know, keep 10, that would go nowhere. This one, right, so this is a good story. So I only ever want one version of Thanos. And what I love about it, first of all, he's such a big character. It looks like a quarter scale. And it's great, like, posing him next to Endgame Cap or the Mark 85 Battle Damage or something. But this particular version is the one that I want, because I know Infinity War is the one where he won, but like this one here with the fully armored up look, I love this look. Also the fact that it's battle damage with the correct nano gauntlet and the broken sword, and even that base. Everyone uses that base for various different poses and various different figures and photo shoots and stuff like that. I just think this is an all-around underrated figure. The sculpt is really good as well. You get two sculpts, well, one disappointed, one kind of angry version that I have here, and even the way the battle damage on the helmet, it's all gnarled and messed up. I actually should take that helmet off, because I put it on, I've had it on for over a year now, you know what I mean? So maybe a bit longer. I need to take that off and make sure it hasn't scuffed. But yeah, this is an amazing piece. Now the story behind this is when I was in Abu Dhabi, I had a roommate, and he's a good friend of mine, Jordanian guy called Gait, and really, really generous. And when I had a housemate, not a roommate, but you know what I mean. Some people say roommates. Yeah. So basically, like, I had an apartment and there was a spare room, and basically I rented it out. But like, the guy, absolute legend. But when I left and I was going home, he gifted me this. Like, he just said, yeah, look, you know, I want to get you something, and this is why I know you're into this. Like, and he basically, he gifted me this. He got this for me as a going away gift. Brand new, Sideshow. I mean, if that's not a story, I don't know what it is. So like, I did not pay for this. So this is brand new, Battle Damage Thanos, pre-ordered for me. Now he pre-ordered, and then I got it like, you know, a few months later, a year later, whatever. I had to explain to him how it worked. Like, but that was that's the story. I was going to buy it anyway. It was on the wish list. It just hadn't pulled the trigger on it. But yeah, this is a pretty damn amazing piece, and that's never going to leave my collection either. Like, you can't really sell gifts, can you? But yeah. So, just a close-up of it. That sculpt is, like, they do great. They do great with characters with, you know, strange, like, skin colors. Like the purple of this, or the blue of Yondu, or Gamora, or Nebula. They do bloody good sculpts. Cad Bane, I know Cad Bane is a bit more alien-like, but this is kind of a humanoid, you know? Yeah, like, this was always going to be on the list. So, like, I need to actually take proper photos of this. I just threw this in a light box and just took a close-up because I wanted to. But yeah, look, the in-art rooted 2-pack, I think it's an amazing figure. And even, like, you know, you've heard my I've had issues with it. I see people complaining about the magnet on the base. I think that's user error. And, you know, the magnets on the arms and stuff like that, and the die-cast weaponry and stuff. I just think, you know, it takes a bit of time to get everything right, but I haven't really had those issues. I've explained the issues, so I don't want to go into them, but all that stuff aside, price point aside, and the weighting aside, this figure is stunning. The rooted hair, the paint applications, even look at the paint in the hair. It's like, obviously, if you're putting on this makeup yourself, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get something in your hair like that if you had long hair like that. They've even gone and done that. The rolling eyes function, the texture and the dirt on the coat as well, and the weathering, the tailoring, the paint applications, it's all good. Love it. Absolutely love it. And that's even despite my shipping issues and having to cancel with the Devil's Workshop, and well, that's actually a good thing, and got this with Lion Rock Toys and all that. Totally worth it. All in the end game, worth it. And I will get that smirking sculpt. I have a confidence that Lion Rock Toys and InArt are going to sort it out, because it's really InArt who have to sort it out. Anyway, the story behind this. I saw this movie in I believe it was called Storm Cinema in Limerick. I think now the Odeon have bought out Storm, and I think it's now Odeon, but I think pretty sure at the time it was Storm Cinema. It was like a brand new cinema. It was huge, like huge cinema. And I got tickets. I was living there near at the time, summer 2008, and I got tickets for this with my girlfriend at the time. And we went to see this opening night, like center seats. We booked for weeks in advance. The biggest screen, you know, with all the trim and stuff like that, and just packed house, absolutely packed house. Witnessed a masterpiece. At the end of the movie, now obviously, like, Heath Ledger had passed away. At the end of the movie, the strangest thing, I'd never seen this before at movies before. The entire cinema clapped. Like, I'd never seen that. I've seen that before at live music gigs, at stand-up comedy gigs, at musicals, at drama. I've never seen anyone, like, I've seen people react in the cinema. I mean, you go see Endgame, when Cap lifts Mjolnir, crowd go nuts. When Andrew and Toby in No Way Home appear, crowd goes nuts. Yeah, they're reaction pieces, but at the end of a movie, when it's done, for a cinema, especially an Irish audience. Like Irish audiences, you know, you'd want to be doing something really, really impressive to get that reaction out of it, because we're not that type of culture. Like everyone clapped. Everyone clapped, and it was a genuine like, wow, that was amazing, and his performance was amazing as well. So obviously that's the backstory to this. This photo I just took with my phone, actually. Just portrait mode on the iPhone. It's just so handy. Like you can actually PNG it if you have the. I'm sure you have, but if you have one of those iPhones, you can. If you take portrait mode and you hold this down, then it kind of highlights the whole thing, and you can make a PNG out of it. It's really, really handy. So I just want to address some of the chats. Is that a fire figure? To be honest, Phil, a lot of these are fire figures. I thought you mentioned something about not keeping that figure in the seated pose too long. I haven't changed him up, and I should. What I'm doing is I'm checking him regularly. But there's no damage. I haven't posed them too extreme. They're not like the legs aren't bent all the way back. They're down, but they're not like bent all the way back. I might be okay, but I'm just checking. Gorgeous image, mate. What an awesome figure in our Joker. Completely agree. Haven't had any issues with the base. Me neither, Trevor. Me neither. You can't sell gifts, but you could re-gift gifts. You can re-gift gifts. You know, just saying. Did I mention them from the US? Not happening. In Art Joker was worth any penny. Completely agree. The Running Man has some great characters to turn into figures. I would love it. What am I missing here? The Running Man has some great characters to turn into figures. Sorry, maybe I'm tired. People question the overall price of the Rooted 2-back work. Yeah, I agree. Dynamo. Okay, right. All right, so next. I don't like doing this. I'm actually just sharing my screen, but I prefer to have them, you know, onto Google Slides and loaded. But the images, because I was taking a lot with SLRs, the images were just kind of too high res or whatever. So there's a limit that you can input into when you upload them to Gmail or to what's it called? Gmail. What's the? I'm completely drawing a blank. The storage, the OneDrive of Gmail, Google Drive. In order to get them onto StreamYard, you have to convert them, save them as PowerPoint to Google Slides, and then import. But I couldn't do that because they're too high res. This I did not take myself. This is just a prototype image from the DX13. I just wanted to highlight the eyes, the Arnie sculpt, and the battle damage. DX13 I just got in last week. What can I say? An old figure, but an amazing 2 head sculpts of Arnie. I believe they both light up as well with one of the eyes. Definitely one of them lights up with one of the eyes. I'll probably get a fusion for that. 2 amazing sculpts, both battle damage. One significantly more battle damage. That's the one I have on it. 2 pleather jackets. Thankfully, there was no peeling on my pleather jackets or pants. I have ordered a custom real leather belt for it because I've heard the belt just disintegrates, and I can see a bit of a sign of a little bit of peeling on the belt. So like that was something I anticipated, but jacket perfect, pants perfect, no peeling yet, but I have anticipated a bit of peeling on the belt. So I've already ordered a custom 1/6 scale real leather belt from for the DX13. Comes with like the bandolier with all the grenades, comes with the kind of, I suppose, grenade launcher, comes with a handgun, comes with a huge, I think it's an M16 rifle. 2 jackets, one of them torn from the elbow down because it has a swap out arm which is heavily battle damaged. Completely just bullet holes all over the jacket and the pants. the knee is exposed and you could see the endoskeleton underneath. This, if ever there's a grail, I said it. This is a bloody grail. Again, Lion Rock Toys hunted that one down for me and I got it for $400 shipped. So like, review incoming. Spoiler alert, it's going to be bloody biased. It's an amazing figure. They don't make them like they used to. This then is actually a T800. I actually have this here. It's just right next to me actually. This is a photo I took of, this is actually not the DX13. This is from Terminator 1. So I have the DX13 battle damage from Terminator 2. And this is the one from Terminator 1, the police shootout one. So this is the one that comes with like, you know, the regular Arnie head sculpt with the glasses that come on. And then this battle damage one, which the eye lights up. You know, but 4 different guns, like 2 different handguns. And then, you know, the... is it the M16? Or no, it's the Uzi 9mm and the shotgun from the police shootout scene. So this one I just took the photo of and then just made it a PNG and popped it into like a background of like a kind of an old hospital hallway to kind of emulate that police shootout scene. Obviously this is not screen accurate because he wasn't that battle damaged at this stage and he wasn't walking around with the shotgun over his shoulder. He was basically shooting everyone. But I really like how this turned out. I usually just take photos in the light box, but I do like how this one turned out. The story behind Terminator 1 and 2. So this is a kind of a funny one. So I must have been about, I don't know, 10. I definitely wasn't in high school yet or secondary school. And I remember I was at my granddad's birthday party. I was really, really young. And we you know, been out for like, there was dinner and cake and stuff like that. And I got really sick. And I got this infection called gastric enteritis. I don't want to go into the ins and outs of it, but you puke a lot. And normally, like, you know, if you've ever, obviously if you're nauseous, maybe you're car sick, or maybe you've got a vomiting bug, or maybe you, I don't know, if you're hungover, or if even like food poisoning, like typically if you throw up, you do feel better. You know, it makes sense. You know, get the bad stuff out of you. You know, but with gastric enteritis, you just, there's no relief. Like, it's disgusting. So you puke constantly and it's real acidy taste. It is horrible. I'm even kind of wincing thinking about it because you remember it. But so I obviously, you know, was sent home and I was sick for a day or two, and I was on the couch anyway one of the evenings, and they were like, right, we need to call the doctor. So my mother was like checking my temperature and whatever and calling the doctor, and there's a bucket on the ground and I was getting sick or whatever. And I was watching Terminator 2 because I was being a bit spoiled because, you know, you're sick, you're a kid, you know, okay, we'll let you watch whatever you want. And it's so Irish because it's a disgusting story. I apologize, but like I'm sick, but like I'm kind of starting to come around. Like the doctor should have been called maybe the day before, but I'm kind of happy because I'm get to watch this movie that I'm not normally allowed to watch. Like, because I knew it was like 18s, like, and you know, my mom didn't. I don't think she. I think she knew, like, okay, yeah, she probably shouldn't be watching this, but he's sick, so we're gonna let it slide. And they called the doctor on call to come out and, you know, obviously assess and get a prescription, get medication, whatever like that. You know, I wasn't gonna die or anything, but I was pretty sick. And I distinctly remember this moment where my mum says, okay, the doctor will be here in 5 minutes. Now, turn that off because I don't want him coming in and seeing him watching this. So it was like, she was happy enough for me to watch it, but she didn't want the doctor to know that I was watching it. It would give a bad image for our family. I just thought that even at the time I was like, are you having a laugh? Like, you know what I mean? It's a doctor. You're paying him. You know, you're paying him for a service. Who cares what's on the TV? Like, do you mean? But I will always kind of, it's such an Irish thing. Like, you know, we can't have the doctor thinking bad of us. Like, but yeah, that was a funny one. I'll always remember watching those movies, the first and second Terminator movie, because like when I used to visit my aunt in my granddad's house, like they used to have like loads of like really good movies on VHS, and a lot of them, like, you know, movies that, like, you know, my parents wouldn't have or whatever, or wouldn't be allowed or whatever, but they had like some classics, like, you know, they had like Dance with Wolves, they had Top Gun, they had Terminator 1 and 2, a lot of the Indiana Jones movies and stuff like that. But Google Drive, yeah, Boba, you're absolutely right. Google Drive. StreamYard? I'm not sure what you mean. Are you tempted to kit bash another figure for DX? No. No. I like to swap out. I think keeping the parts, I like to swap things in and out every now and then. So like I can swap out, I know it's not a fully clean look, but you know, the bit with the arm, and maybe put a different gun on, a different head sculpt, and then maybe swap out the battle damage head sculpt and the heavily battle damage look for the iron kind of pike he comes in. It keeps it interesting for me, you know what I mean? Although that figure, I'm lucky there's no flaking, so I wouldn't be doing that too much with that at the same time. But I get what you're saying. I see people do that. You know your guns, pal. Uzi 9mm. Get the flat 7-up. Yeah, it was. Man, you're copper. You know, yeah, you're definitely sick until there's nothing but bile. Exactly. Absolutely disgusting. Come here for the content. Stay for the gastroenteritis. Yeah, that's exactly it. Lol. Yeah. And the dry toast, you can't beat the dry cooked. But the last thing you don't want the doctor thinking that your family lets you watch R-rated movies. Just joining. That's a great story. Moms always feel a certain way about the family image. 100%. Yeah. And fairness, now it was a particularly violent film, but yeah, the old dry toast. Terminator 2 is a classic, never gets old. You're 100% right. It just, those first two movies, like, I will never not enjoy watching them. And I purposely, like, there's certain movies I don't want to overwatch just in case I will get bored of them, but I'll never get bored of them. I've watched them, like, probably a couple of 100 times each. Like, the Dark Knight trilogy, I watch once a year. And I like to leave it a long time, so it almost kind of, it's like I forget little bits, so it stays kind of fresh. But, yeah. Okay. So we'll move on. So that was the story from that. I thought that was a funny one. Deadpool. I love this figure, and never leaving the collection. I actually love the way it looks with the trainee uniform on. It's another one, like certain figures I just keep in a pose and I'm like, yeah, it's a forever pose, like, or okay, maybe this one isn't a forever pose, but I'll give you an example of forever pose. The Spider-Man Homecoming. The image, the deluxe one, the image that sold that to me in the blogger, sorry, the promotional images, was him just walking to school with a science book with the hoodie and the blazer and the headphones on with the hood up and the backpack. I just thought that was deadly over the spider suit. Makes no sense, but just really, really cool. As soon as I got it, I put it in that pose and I'm like, that's the way it's staying. Absolutely love it. And I don't want to go messing with that because it sits nice, and I don't want to have to be reposing that and taking off the hoodie and making the hoodie baggy and stretching it out and messing with the suit. That is what I want from that, and I just want to keep it like that. But I robbed this pose off Terry Smith. So he's got the katanas there, he's got the guns in the holsters, he's holding like the unicorn and stuff like that, and I just really, really like the look. So when I was in Abu Dhabi, I was there for 2 years. And I was living in the middle of nowhere. Like, a lot of the time you probably have friends or relatives who live in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and it's like all, you know, like fancy hotels and beaches and shopping and restaurants. Yeah, that's grand and all. But if you're living in the middle of nowhere, like I was living like 3 hours into the desert, in the middle of nowhere. So I had to fly into Abu Dhabi, drive 3 hours towards Saudi Arabia to get where I was. It was literally in the middle of nowhere. The only reason the town was there was because there was an oil refinery there. And then, of course, from that, a few schools and a little small supermarket, and, you know, like your gyms and your restaurants, your basics, amenities popped up in the schools. So that's what I was working. But, you know, maybe once a month I'd go into Dubai and just go to the beach or stay in a nice hotel or something like that. But at the time I was doing a master's, because I was over there, I was doing a master's in education and leadership, because that's what I do. That's what I'm a teacher. But I remember I had to do this one assignment, like, and it was about 5,000 words. And, you know, 5,000 words isn't that much, but when your 5,000 words has to make sense, and you've got to use your references, and you've got to, you know, proofread it, and you've got to make sure you're doing your quotes right with the Harvard referencing scheme and stuff like that. It gets annoying and draining and stuff like that. So I had I wanted to go into Abu Dhabi and go to the cinema, but I had the assignment to do. I was like, right, what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll stay in a hotel, I'll book into a hotel, I'll go in really early in the morning, and I'll finish this 5,000 word assignment, And then that night then I'll go and see Deadpool 2. And it was such a long, boring day of work. It was like, I don't know, when was the last time, maybe some of the audience are actually still in third level education, maybe some of them are doing masters, or maybe just some people are doing PhDs or stuff like that, but doing that kind of like academic writing is so bloody draining. And like, it's not fun. And while some bits are definitely interesting and helpful, but it's really, really draining. And like, I'm sure you can remember that. I'm sure a lot of us have been through it. But it's hard to go back. Like, I think a lot of people, like, they get a degree and they go straight into a master's or PhD, and that might actually be a bit easier because they're in that mind frame. But I went back then to do the master's after, I don't know, 15 years in the career. I needed a good laugh. I really needed a good laugh. I remember specifically being drained. And I got the last thing done. I was like, that's done. It was basically, the draft had been done. All I had to do then the next morning is kind of like read through it for about an hour and just proofread it and do spell checks and, you know, just do bits of editing. But the hard work was done and I really needed a laugh. So that was grand. I was staying in a hotel, it was directly attached to a mall. So I took a shower, freshened up, went in and went to see this movie on my own. And I just, like, it cracked me up. As far as sequels go, I think this is better than the original. Like, when I watched it and after, I was like, okay, this is like the Empire Strikes Back of the Deadpool. I genuinely thought it was better movie than the first I loved the first Deadpool movie, but I just thought the pacing, the humor, the music, the action, inclusion of Domino, Cable. So like this, when I look at that figure, like, as much as I love Deadpool, the first two movies, and the way they're put together and the action and Ryan Reynolds and yada, 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 I will laugh at, God, that was a long, boring day. Thank you, Ryan Reynolds. So it was quite funny. So obviously the next photo is Cable then, you know. So yeah, definitely it'll always put a smile on my face. And I think, like, these are the only two figures I was really interested in. I would get a Domino. I'd love, like, an officially licensed Domino. But yeah, I wouldn't need to go down. I wouldn't need to go down the getting the route. I wouldn't need a Juggernaut or anything. I know a lot of third parties do quite good, but for me, I wouldn't. My mum used to, and most of that is spacing, by the way. Like, you know, it'd be great to have everything, but, like, you know, gotta pick and choose. My mum used to give me the OXO soup if I had a bad stomach. Thinking back, yeah, absolutely, you're dead right. How much did you get for Deadpool? I didn't sell it. I don't know what happened to Cameron to condone Dark Fate. Haven't seen it, probably never will. You're cheating, Shane. You only give your guests 3 figures. In fairness now, Phil, in fairness, these aren't fire figures. These are nostalgia and the backstories from a select group of my figures. They just happen to be bloody good ones. I love my Homecoming Spidey. I have considered selling it, but that's when he came back home to join the other Marvel characters, so difficult. Yeah. Focus. I don't have a Deadpool, but this looks great. Did I mention I live in the US? No, I won't, Phil. I won't. Getting PTSD hearing the Harvard reference. Yeah. That short scene with Brad Pitt in Deadpool 2 was funny. Yeah, very funny. How much did he cost? I got him at retail because I actually bought him from Sideshow. I think that the Deadpool was the 4th Hot Toy figure I ever got. The Deadpool 2, because I had the MMS 67, 68 since like 2010 or whatever they were first released. And then of course the Mark 6, which I stupidly, living in the UAE, got it sent home to Ireland, and then it got hit with customs. But then I learned, and the 4th one, which was the Deadpool 2, as soon as I came out of the cinema, I was like, I want a Deadpool. And then they announced that Deadpool 2, so I was like, grand, pre-ordered it, and ordered it to my address in the UAE, so no customs, which is brilliant. Pardon. So he cost, I'd say you could probably just Google, I think it was 200 and, I want to say maybe under 250. I think it was pretty reasonable. at the time. He's crawling up in value now, but hang on to Deadpool 3. They're gonna announce another one. I think we might be actually close to the end. I think is that it? No, this is it. Yeah, and then this is the Spider-Man that the story behind this one. So obviously, you know, Tom Holland is, I think that's the first time they've actually got a movie Spider-Man right. Like, I grew up with the I grew up with the Tobey Maguire ones, but I never really particularly liked those movies or Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, like, then they're watchable, like, but I just don't really, I just didn't particularly like them. And Andrew Garfield, again, watched it, yeah, but didn't float my boat either. But I think I really like what they did with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and how Stark just plucked him out of New York and threw him into it and got a suit sorted and everything. And then his story arc, we just assumed Uncle Ben had been killed, but in that multiverse, that wasn't the story arc. And I really thought it was clever how he lost someone then with Aunt May. But I really, really liked this. And at the time, I had been looking for it, but this on Sideshow was waitlisted. The waitlist was like full. Oh no, actually it was a waitlist. No, it was waitlisted. I joined it, did not convert, and sold out everywhere. And then on eBay, it was already crawling up to close to $1,000. And I always wanted, and I kept an eye on it everywhere. And eventually in a buy sell trade group, one popped up for $400 shipped. Thing was brand new. I think he said like, oh, open for inspection only or whatever. So I had a good look at it. Like, everything was sealed. Like, yeah, perfect condition. And yeah, didn't look back. So this one, the story is basically that it was my first experiences with the waitlist. It was on eBay for $1,000, like, and I wasn't paying $1,000 for it. That was people chancing, but yeah, it's just, it was the first figure that I actually worked backwards on. So the first one that I got waitlist on did not convert. First one that I worked backwards on and got it for $400. I thought that was pretty good. I was happy enough paying for that. So they are the backstories for those different figures. So I think we're going to wrap it up, folks. I went on longer than I expected to go. Harvard referencing on a photography course blew my mind. Yeah, I'd say so. Love this Iron Man armor. We talked about the Mark 46. Yeah, I was so happy. We weren't focused. Yeah, I didn't want to see that. I really didn't want to see that. I was like, oh god, now Uncle Ben's gonna die. It was just the third time. What's my favorite Star Wars episode? Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I'm an original trilogy man. I do love Rogue One. My top 4 will definitely be original trilogy and Rogue One. But Payton, thank you very much. Phil, thank you very much. I'm out of here, and I newly updated the outro because Alan is a commander now. Shout out to Alan. Right, folks. Thanks very much to everyone who's taken the time to tune in here. If you are not subscribed, please click that subscribe button. If you like the content, click the like button. What's coming up? Well, this Saturday we've got Lancelot's Nerd Corner at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on episode number 39 of Visions, and then next Wednesday we got D Night for episode number 40 of Visions. They're all they're all not focused. They're all scheduled if you want to check the scheduling for that. So really appreciate, folks, and I'm out of here. Thank you very much, and yeah, chat to you later. Good luck.